Hello. Hey guys, I'm Gunnar Olsen. I wanted to do a little video talking about the Kaoss Pad and how I utilize it for looping, live looping, layers, production elements. I'm not going to go super in depth on all the different things you can do with the Kaoss Pad, but I'm going to show you some of the techniques I like to use. And so yeah, at the top here, I have a bunch of presets. You can hear what some of these. Oh, first off, let me say, over the years, I've run different things into the Kaoss Pad. Over the years, I've used different mics to go into the Kaoss Pad, or I've used, drum machines or synths. The mic I'm using in this video and what I've been using for the last couple of years is the Yamaha EAD10, just to give you guys a little idea of what that sounds like. This is what it sounds like. I only have a few mics set up. I have a kick mic, overhead, and a snare mic, and a room mic. So not a ton of mics, but I want to give you an idea of what it sounds like blended in and by itself. So this is blended in. Cool, now this is by itself. The reason I like using this mic with it is it's a stereo mic. The positioning of it's great. It clips right onto the kick drum mic, picks up a bunch of information right around here, a lot of attack, which is great for the use of the Kaoss Pad for loops and for pedals, or for effects, kind of pedal sounding effects. Give you an example. So for instance, on the Kaoss Pad, there's a bunch of different effects in here. I have this row up here, I have a bunch of presets that I just kind of have as go-tos. For instance, like delay. So the thing with the Kaoss Pad is when you hold down your finger, depending on where on the XY axis, it'll affect it differently. That's delay, for example. This is the grain delay. You also have depth to, it's basically a wet or dry. So you can have it all the way up if you want to hear a lot of it. Modulations, filters. Now note, the peak is going to be going kind of high, kind of going hot. I don't have too many problems with that. I kind of fix it on the other side. So, all right, but what we're going to be talking about today is loops. What I really like about the Kaoss Pad is you can set very precise tempos. So this is great when you're recording, when you're playing along to an existing piece of music. If you want to just make your life easier, it's great. There's also a tap tempo. For what I'm doing today, it's going to be pretty off the cuff. Highest you can go is all the way up to 300. So with that in mind, I'm actually going to start at 150. So utilizing one of my presets, which is in the loop section of it, it's called loop 10. For example, if I hit anything and then capture it on the Kaoss Pad right after, so as you'll see, the higher and lower I go on it, kind of filters it, and then as I go to the left, it's different rhythmic intervals within 150. What I often do, I'll hit like a rim or a hi-hat or anything really, hit it, and now utilizing that, now I have I've almost created a click track for myself. Now I could set up a click track in Ableton and do this, but this is a little bit more fun. And what I'm usually looking for, now note when I take my finger off of it, it stops. So that's important to remember. But what I'm looking for when I'm making loops is I'm looking for a bit of randomness, almost treating it as another collaborator. I'm looking for it to help provide me with ideas to then bounce off of. So let me try to give you an example of that. So I'm going to start something just hitting it and then immediately grabbing it. Move my finger around to where I like it. Now, well, for now I'm going to hold it there, and there's a hold button right here. Now you'll see I don't have to keep my finger on it, and I can actually move it around. See what I like. Note right now the FX kind of wet dries all the way up. So I'm going to start here, and you can save that. So there's a sample button, and say, for instance, we turn that off. If I hit sampling, go up to program, you can make the loop from 1 bar all the way up to 16 beats. So so now sampling is enabled. If I hit A, let's record some stuff. Now it's playing back, You could apply some effects to it. That's a synth. It's kind of weird. Modulation, different delays, filters. But the kind of loop I want to make right now, I want to do something rhythmic. So going back to loop, do about there. Notice again, I've pressed hold. Filter-wise, I can go about there. And now, so to start the loop, you're going to press sample, but to be able to save the effect, you're going to do shift and sampling. So now I'll do A. And now you want to take the hold off because you're actually hearing the two different, you're hearing it, the recorded version and the effect. So for instance, if I do another kind of loop hold, that's bouncing off the loop I just made. So I'm going to turn off hold. And so right now this is going to be essentially what I'm using as a click. So now I'm going to start adding some other layers. I'm just going to do a normal sample. Hit sample. Right now it's on 16. I'm going to bring it down to 8. Just make it a shorter loop. And just start having fun. Right now I'm going to utilize all 4. It's basically like 4 tracks, all the 4 layers. All right, that's pretty basic. Nothing amazing. Now let's start trying to have some fun with this. One of the first things we can do is we can go up. We go up this align button. And you'll see it's technically at 150. Let's start messing with the BPM. And you know what? I'm just going to go all the way up to 300. So now the 4 layers are essentially doubled in time. Kind of cool. Now, the part that gets a little tricky is if I turn these layers off, depending on when I hit the record, since I didn't do it right exactly in the one, now it's kind of out of time. Right, now that's kind of all over the place. These two kind of work. Now what you can do, which is kind of cool, is you hit shift and the layer you want to work on and you move up here to program, you can actually mess around with the timing of each individual layer. All right, so right now I just have 2 of the layers on. Now let's add some effects to it. Now again, the layers are just going to happen when I'm touching it, touching the screen. And keep in mind, it's on this mic right here on the kick drum. So if I play anything on the kit, it's going to also be affected. Well, that's cool. Maybe I just want the delay effect on what I'm hearing. So right now I'm hearing the delay effect on A and D, right? Right now the delay is all the way up, or the wet dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually save this. So I'm going to do what I did earlier, do shift, sample, and save it to beat. Now I'm going to want to turn off those original and hold. And now, just for the heck of it, I'm going to slow it back down. Now I've turned back on C from the original loop. That was a different layer. Now what you can do is you can hit shift in any one of these, and this will control the individual volume. And then also now these are all the different parts of the loop. So for instance, if I turn this off, and we're just hearing this B loop, shift and B. See, that's the 8th part of that beat. This is 1 and 8. So just kind of messing around with these numbers, you can get, leads to some cool possibilities. What I'm going to do is just leave 3 of them going. So now I have kind of a grouping of 6, or a feel of 6 over the 4. Hit shift. I'm going to go back to loop, my original kind of starting point, and start another one. So if I turn that down for a second just so we can hear what's going on. I'm going to turn B back up. It's kind of cool. Oh, see, now I didn't save it. So I'm going to go back to loop. Turn this down for a second. Now I'm going to save that, shift sampling to D. Hold off. Turn back up the volume of B. Going to mess with the timing just a little bit. Get them a little closer. That's cool. And then you can start, playing groove ideas over that. Now keep in mind, since I'm using this mic to go from the Kaoss Pad, it's picking up the loop stuff, but it's also picking up what I'm playing. So what you might want to do is make a loop, record it, and then play layers over it, or turn off the EAD. But I just kind of usually just leave it all going, just going for it, you know. You know, you can start doing some live effects. And you know, if I'm really feeling something, shift sample, I'll just save that sound. And you know, another thing to remember, turn this down. Another thing to remember is whatever your moves you're doing on this, when you do a shift sampling save, you can save those sounds. You can save those movements. For instance, I'm gonna make this a little longer, go back to 16. Save it to D. So those movements I just did now got saved. So what's cool about saving some movements like that is you can have it kind of being wacky while you're playing, and that those kind of delay movements aren't going to affect what you're playing in real time. Now the opposite of that, if you want that kind of stuff to be happening, this little guy, pad motion, is pretty cool. A fun example is with, you know, to use it with the grain delay. Let's make another loop, make it 109 for the heck of it. Go back to the loop 10. Just using this as a guide beat. Gonna save that and add some stuff. And similar, I'm gonna take a few of these out just for randomness. Leave 4. Get some of my talking out of there. Let's do the last 4. Let's do that. So if I go to pad motion, let's go to grain delay. And now pad motion will almost record something I'm doing without recording it as a track. So if I do pad motion, so those movements I just did kind of got recorded as a little inner sequence. But what's fun about this is now when I play, these things will affect my playing too. loop. Let's go a little faster. 230. Add another layer. Lower the volume of the first one just a little bit. Oops, got out of sync a little bit. Sometimes you can kind of get lucky when you turn it on and off. So since I added a little kind of kick pattern, maybe I'll do some layers without kick so they won't be flamming together, you know? Another fun thing you can do is maybe double the kick pattern with the floor tom. Go on layer D here. Let's do one more layer of that rhythm. Go to C. Now I'm going to go into a realm that I really like on the Kaoss Pad, which is Distortion. That's mod 10. I'm going to blend it in slowly. So I'm going to do a hold in the middle and start to bring up the effects depth. Now, what I like about the distortion on the Kaoss Pad is it starts to add a tonality to the different drum sounds. And if you move it around the x-axis a little bit, get the depth all the way up. So now the distortion is on the loop, but it's also going to be on the mic. So anything I play will also be getting distorted since I have the hold on. So maybe what I'll want to do is I'll want to save. Let me turn that layer off. I'm going to save this distortion to layer A. I'm going to shorten it to 8. 2, 3, 4. So now we have a shorter phrase. And yeah, distort the distortion sounds cool. I'm going to save that to B. Turn the original off, the hold off. So now when I play, there'll be no effects while I'm actually playing. And just for the fun of it, let's speed it up. See, now with the distortion it being sped up, it almost starts to have a sound, like a tone to it. It almost, has like a melody to it. slow it down way slow. Save that to D. So now I'm grabbing parts of that with loop 10. Save that to D. And let's get screwy with these again. So now I sped it up again. Kind of sounds like Ministry. It's kind of fun. So again, I'm always just kind of messing around, goofing around, trying to get stuff that's going to inspire a drum beat or another layer. Another effect I really like is this mod 3. Maybe do some pad motion. And now you kind of have a bit of a melody. I like that a lot. I'm going to save that to C. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mess with the filter a little bit. So, you know, different filters. Let's save that, move it around. Go back to mod 3. Some of the other mods are kind of cool. Get weird. Another layer. Let's go distortion again just for fun. Maybe too much. 4 is mod 4 is kind of a big crusher. Mess around with these numbers a bit on B. It's not always going to work. Shorten this one up a little bit. That's cool. I'm going to save that. Grain delay. Speed it up again just because why not? That's cool. It's groovy. Filter sweep. Do a layer here. And you know what you'll notice, especially with the EAD, you're not going to get a ton of low end out of the kick and the floor tom, which is nice because it kind of stays out of the way, especially if you're using a kick mic, a floor tom mic, which I'm not using right now. So it has a way of not really battling each other and just sounding like another part of the loop, which I like. Let's get that back on track. That's the floor tom layer, but now if I have my kick, you're hearing it through the kick mic and the EAD 10 mic. It's cool. Do a different pattern. See, that's really cool too. Down to 160. Another layer. And what's cool about, speeding up, slowing down, then it's going to also give it a different tonality than your actual kit, So now the snares that I was sampling are going to be a different pitch than my actual snares, which is cool. Ooh, this one's weird. Trusty Distortion, go. So hopefully this was interesting. I haven't really ever done one of these before, so hopefully it made some sense. My name's Gunnar Olsen, and I'll be doing some more of these. They'll get better. I hope this sparks some creative ideas. Cool. right, guys, thanks for watching.